regardless of what anybody may try to say from the outside. And there's people that have a lot to say. People offended maybe by the things that I've said last night. And if you are, like, I just don't even know what to say to you at this point. But, I'm going to continue to be me. But there is some baggage that I do try to keep around. And a lot of times I do a disservice to myself trying to be so graceful to people. There's nothing wrong with showing grace, but, extending, so much of your virtue out towards a person, caring about a person, and then a person, does certain things to betray. And, I understand, as I said, from the other side, the perspective of the two different people I've dealt with last year. And as I said, most of the things that I said, was to try to pry information out of the situation. It was like people's trying to move on, do this and that. And that's cool, but as I've said, I was stuck thinking about, okay, I did something wrong to this person. Kind of like, situation with, my son's mother. For years I'm thinking this and that. And, come to find out, she didn't even see the situation how she initially saw it. And that's just unfortunate for me at the end of the day, because of my heart, because of, wanting to care for people, wanting to see the best for people at times. And so you got to understand, like, there's nothing wrong with that, number one, especially in that type of relationship. Like, I have to extend that towards her. I always want to see the best for her, as I've said. Without, I can't do what I do for him without her. And so it ain't never no hate between her and, me going through that already, regardless of what people may say, it helped me with my maturity in dealing with the last two ladies. Now, where it became immature, as I've said, was when I got, grieved on handling a lot of the things on my own as I felt. And, a lot of times, that's where I kind of go wrong with some things. Like I hurt myself by trying to figure stuff out instead of, getting along, doing the work that I have to do on myself, as it seems that, other people have. I have as well, but it's been a slower process because I'm still checking back, like, you good. Me as a teammate, when I played ball, I would, as I've said, man, like, I understand certain things. You're only as strong as your weakest link. So I would go back, run with a person who taking all day. I remember as a wide receiver, we played, our entire time of high school together. He wasn't getting a lot of reps. I was telling him some of the reasons why. So after practice, we would go work on routes. I throw him routes and different things. So that's the type of teammate that I am. I ain't used to a whole bunch of new stuff. What's up, man? And I ain't used to how a lot of people move on this internet stuff, because, as I've said, it's selfish. Once people see something, they'll benefit off of it, at the detriment of a person who, actually cares about them. Maybe that person may look up to them or whatever it may be. But, as I've said, I had to learn to deal with that. And this isn't across the board. This isn't me trying to accuse everybody. Best believe if you're still around, it's for a good reason. But I definitely, I keep myself around people who obviously don't care. And that every single day, even if, let's say, I'm going through everything that they think that I am. Like, as I've said, I've never seen somebody in a position that they were struggling, with the examples I gave earlier with the football thing. Never seen somebody in a position where I didn't want to help them or do what I could to help them benefit out of the situation. Things aren't always about you. And I feel like one of the tests was whether or not I would lose that part of me.